were talking about the Avanti Brahmana. The Avanti Brahmana, he keeps his intelligence and the senses and his life under control. Once you get this under control, then what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to go out and live on charity alone. The idea about renunciation is to live exclusively on charity. You are not supposed to be earning something or something which is called a constructive activity which is going to give you some money. You are not supposed to do that. So he begs on charity and he goes to various cities, towns, wherever he can, and he doesn't tell anybody what he is up to. In the sense that you are not supposed to say, oh, I am in spiritual, I am doing this, I am roaming the world. There is no need. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 11, Chapter 23, the Song of Avanti Brahmana, verse 33 onwards. O King Uddhava, O kind Uddhava, seeing him as an old dirty beggar, rowdy persons would dishonor him with many insults. This is a very common thing which happens to spiritual people. The moment the worldly people look at this person, they think that he is mad. Because he behaves in a very different manner, not like any other normal human being. You will find him, he may be wearing torn clothes, or he may be wearing clothes which do not behove of a personality that he might be. He has got long hairs, maybe unshaven. He looks like a homeless kind of a person. Actually, he is homeless. But the whole universe is his home. No doubt about it. He will not speak. He will not open his mouth to tell the world that he is an intelligent being. And this is what happens many a times in our life. We come across such type of people. Now, I can give you 2-3 examples. One is an example of a person who, Chinmayananda, he went out to see his Guru, seek out his Guru. And when he met this old looking person who did not seem like having any knowledge, because people go by appearances. The moment you have a particular appearance, you already make a judgment on the person. So he went and he was speaking in slightly a derogatory manner. His Guru, to be Guru, did not tell him anything, did not say anything to him. And later on, he speaks in the same language and in perfect English also. In his local lingo and his perfect English. And Chinmayananda was flabbergasted and he was wondering what exactly happened. I met an individual in my life with very long flowing beard, orange clothes, and was speaking in only one language, that is in Telugu. Now, the general impression is, oh, this person is a localite, has no knowledge about the world. Later on, when I understood the biodata of that person was a double PhD. That too, one of the subjects was English. So, though he is conversing in a local language, doesn't make him out into a wayward person. So, spiritually perfect people will never indulge in telling the world that they are very good. They will only show themselves as poor and having very little knowledge, and their method of going around in the world will make everybody wonder whether they come from the lowest rung of the society. So, the Brahmana, Avanti Brahmana, what does he do? He goes around different cities, and when people saw him, they saw him as an old dirty beggar, And rowdy people, that is all the bad people around, they started dishonoring him with different kinds of insults, which is a very, very common thing. Some of these persons would take away his sannyasi rod, some the water pot which he was using as a begging bowl, some took his deerskin seat, some his chanting beads, and some would steal his torn, ragged clothing. Displaying these things before him, they would pretend to offer him back, but would then hide them again. Naturally, this is how the whole world behaves with the downtrodden or the slightly mad people. How do they behave? Oh, take. They will take their things and they will try to. It's a very, very bad way of behaving. We too behave something like that. We also misbehave with people going by their appearances. We look at a person and we say, oh, this person looks like somebody from the roadside, so we should not treat him nicely. This kind of an attitude shows how poor we are rather than those people. It just tells us that we do not have manners. We cannot take care of the lowly people, those who don't have anything. Last week I explained to you that it is important to give. But do not consider yourself as a great person if you are giving, because if there is nobody in front of you to take it, what is the point? You will be left with nothing. So it is important to give. Yesterday also I posted one video where they show that how important it is to give. And especially this season, which is the Christmas season, giving is extremely important. We give to our near and dear ones, but it is important to give to those people who do not have. Alright? So, they would literally harass this person, Brahmana. Verse 35 says, when he was sitting on the bank of the river, about to partake of the food that he had collected by his begging, such sinful rascals would come and pass urine on it, and they would dare to spit on his head. This is a very callous way of misbehaving with a very great person. Now, that person goes out to beg for food. In the material world, I have been always told that why do the sadhus have to beg? So, I will tell you something which I heard many years ago. In one of the ashrams in India, the guru over there, he gives stone clothes to his people. By the way, these are all corporate big people, okay? They are VPs and MDs and all that. These are very people who have well settled in life, and they have come as a disciple to this guru. So what do? They are given torn clothes and there is no money in their pocket. And they are left anywhere between 50 and 100 kilometers from the ashram. And they are supposed to get back to the ashram by the evening on their own. Now where they are left, it could be just a small tiny village. How do you get back from that village to the ashram without a single penny in the pocket? So, and you are wearing torn clothes, you are disheveled. Even the women are given such torn clothes and all. And they are told to get back. It is one of the most difficult things for anybody to do that. Do you know the reason why? Because they have never asked anybody in their life for money or whatsoever. And imagine going and asking people in the streets, can I have some money? I want to get back. You're not supposed to say that you are doing this, it's a kind of an experiment. In that one day, the person learns humility. learns what it means to beg in the streets. Means what a person goes through when they don't have anything. But it is only a one-day experiment. And these great people, when they get back to the ashram, they will give out stories of how they did it. It is not about how you did it. Can you survive this your entire life? To be humble like this, to be treated like a dirt on the streets. Humility doesn't come so easily to a person. They think no end of themselves. Their ego stands up at every given moment in time. I have to be like this. I am this. Even if a person goes to a hotel, he thinks no end of himself. He will say, do you know who I am? I want the best room. I want the best table. I want the best of the services. This is where the problem lies. And a man can never understand how this happens. I just asked some folks over here to watch a very beautiful film. And this is like a documentary. It's like a documentary. It is of a social worker. His name is Baba Amte. Now, Baba Amte was a doctor. And he used to wear one singlet on top, we call it banyan, on top, and one short pant. The one which you wear inside the house, that kind of. Then, he used to go around exactly like this everywhere. He had a private zoo in his house, by the way. One day, a very senior officer of the government comes to see him. So he meets some people on the road. And they take him to this person who is sitting inside a cage feeding a squirrel. With that, this clothes of his. So this officer looks at him and he's asking some questions. He's not told that this is the gentleman. So when Baba Amte talks to him, the person thinks that he's just a plain servant over there. So he says, I want to talk to your boss. He says, I am the boss. But I didn't expect you to be like this. The humility is extremely important. And in another instance, he has got hundreds of awards. He is also, there is a Nobel Prize in Asia which is called the Magsaysay Award. He's a Magsaysay Award winner. He has got so many degrees and so many things in this, in his life that he's invited to the United States. So he goes to Mumbai to meet the Consul General, the council over there. The council looks at his papers and says, what is your salary? So he says, I earn 1500 rupees a month. 1500 rupees? I mean, who earns 1500 rupees? By the way, $1 is around approximately 65 rupees. So, $650 rupees would be around $10. So, think about it. So, $25 is his entire monthly income. So, the council looks at him and says, are you sure? Is there a zero missing over here? He says, no, that is all I earn per month. He says, then I'm sorry, I cannot grant you the visa. Why? you will run away and you will stay in the United States. He doesn't recognize who the person who is sitting in front of him is. Though he says, you see, I am invited and people are going to take care of me. They have arranged for my accommodation and everything. So the council says, I'm sorry, you don't have the money, so you may stay put in US. So I cannot grant you the visa. So Baba Amte goes back. So when he goes back, the media comes to know about it and the media make a big noise about it. So the ambassador of United States calls up Baba Amte and says, I'm very sorry, my officer didn't know who you were, so please come back, we are granting you the visa. This man is literally like a Nelson Mandela. So you can imagine how big a person he is. He is not like Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa had financial support from all the world leaders. This man doesn't take any financial support from anybody. He lives in a village. And very little people, those who can contribute little is all that, like medicines and all, that's it. Incidentally, I had the opportunity of staying with this person for nearly 3-4 days. I think twice I had it. And I stayed in his farmhouse. And I met him and it was really very wonderful. You see, he had given me a very nice place to sleep and food was very good and a very beautiful village house. Outside his house, there was a lake, a pond, a kind of a river, kind of a stuff. And there were wild animals literally roaming around. I was able to catch hold of a deer over there. And I was wondering, what kind of a place is this? He had leopards, lions, tigers in his house. He would put his hand in a hyena's mouth. He would literally be sleeping with the leopard and nothing would happen. So just to give you an understanding, his name was Dr. Prakash Baba Amte. He died in 2008. Today his son takes care of the entire thing. Now Dr. Prakash Baba Amte was a great leader of man. He would care for the poor villagers. Now this is the kind of a man who can never be recognized outside if he goes around in his usual clothing and the humility that he has. So those who are in spiritual do not exhibit their halo around, I am great. Nobody says that. So the world looks at these people and treats them very badly. So you will find that people would come and do the same to this Avanti Brahmana. Although he had taken a vow of silence, they would try to make him speak. And if he did not speak, they would beat him with sticks. Others would chastise him, saying, this man is just a thief. And others would bind him up with a rope, shouting, tie him up, tie him up. I left something when I was talking 5 minutes ago. I said that, what do people think? They think that these spiritual people are a waste on man. They are pure waste. And they treat them as if they are unworthy. Why? Because they do not have income. They do not work somewhere. Actually, they are not supposed to. Why? You see, when you go to work, you are basically earning a living. When you earn a living, you are a purely material, worldly person. One of the qualifications of spirituality is to live on charity. Living on charity is a very, very strange business. Living on charity makes you understand how humble it is to live in this world. You have to have the humility in you. Living on charity will not bring that ego. I have got so much. I have this, I own that, this is mine, this is mine. At the end of the day, nothing is yours. Isn't it the truth? In this world, what is yours? Nothing. Spirituality teaches you to be humble. You do not have a living, in the sense you don't have wages or get any money from anywhere. You are living purely on charity. This is not understood by the worldly people. So they always look upon spiritual people who do not make a living as pure trash. They are worthless people. Look at him. He's got such a nice build. He can go and work somewhere. He can be a servant in somebody's place. He can do this. He can do that. And yet he is not doing anything about it. This idea where a material worldly person works gives him a salary, gives him a sense of belonging to some place. Has a house, has a family, has friends, has relations, has everybody. But the moment you don't have money, nobody cares for you. Isn't it the truth? Just tell the world, I am bankrupt, I don't have any money. See what happens. Everybody will try to run away from you. Why? Because you may touch them for money. You may say, can I have $10? Can I have 100 rupees? That is the reason why everybody runs away. Your own relatives will run away. This is what happens. You don't have a house of your own. You know how inadequate a person feels when they don't have a house of their own? Those who have a house of their own, they have ownership of certain properties and all, they don't feel anything missing in their life. But ask a person who doesn't have a house, has to pay rent every month, or maybe, this is the problem. Man thinks that this is my ownership. Now, relations. I have a wife, I have a husband, I have a child. They will look after me. I can look after them. You see the whole point? But the moment you don't have anything, what happens? Your own husband, your own wife, your own children will run away from you. Isn't it the truth? So, detachment from material worldly life is extremely important. It teaches you a lot of things. The moment you say, I don't have anything, the world ditches you. As far as these people who are concerned, the spiritually perfect people are concerned, they have an IQ that could beat even the Einsteins of this world, by the way. They can do things which nobody on earth can do. They have such tremendous intellectual capacity, but they are not running after publicity, they are not running after making money, they are not running after doing anything. They have a certain job in this world which they are performing. So, if somebody becomes an ascetic, or becomes a sadhu, or becomes a spiritualist, please understand the primary criteria is not to have a living, a wage. It's not right. It will never treat you. Otherwise, you are going to depend on that salary. Like every person in this world, is he not depending on the next salary, the next salary, the next salary? Because he has to pay for his food and other things. Here you don't even know whether you are going to get your next meal, where it is going to come from. And this is how a man has to be in spiritual. Our dependency is entirely on God. How He provides for it is His problem. That tells, that I will tell you a story on that. This is a Buddhist story. Once upon a time, it so happened that a Buddhist monk, he goes out and begs for food everywhere. At one place, now he has come out of the monastery for the first time, remember this. Okay, from childhood he has been in the monastery. He has never seen a woman, by the way. He just knows that there is a woman because there are some people who come to work. That's it. Beyond that, he has very little idea. So, when he goes out to beg, they have a rule. You can only beg from so many houses. Maximum is 4 or 8. I think that is a figure that they talk about. So, he goes to beg. At one house where he knocks, a small girl comes to the door. Now she is in a puberty, So he says, can I have something to eat? So she tells the monk, just wait here. I will go and get something for you. So the monk waits outside. When she comes back with a little food, her mother also comes with her. See, in most of these countries, in Thailand or in India, wherever, if a monk comes to beg to your house, a sadhu, you normally honor him, you give him something to eat or some kind of a food is offered. When he is taking the food in his hands, he looks at the mother and he says, I think this girl has some problem. So the mother says, what do you think is the problem? I think she is developing some boils on her chest. So the mother starts laughing. Those are not boils. Those are breasts. So the monk is a little bit flabbergasted. He asks her, why is it happening? So the only way in which the mother can explain to him is, you see, when she grows up, she will get married and she will have children. Now, God has made arrangements for those children to feed from her breasts. And that is the reason why God has given her this breast. So the monk thanks her and starts walking. He just walks down a few steps and then he says, this is very strange. And he comes back, knocks on the door again and tells the woman, here, take your food back. So the woman asks him, are you crazy? Why are you giving the food back? We have given it to you. Take it. He says, see, there's something which I learned today. You see, the child may be coming 10 or 15 years from now. But God has already made arrangements for the child to be fed. He has already made arrangements for that future child to be fed. So don't you think that God has made arrangements for me also? Why do I need to bother my head about where I get my food from and the way I am getting it from? If God has to give me food, He will give it to me just like that. This is a very important lesson which we learn in Buddhism and in Hinduism, in these religions, where we understand that God has already made provisions for everything. We say in our world, even a leaf doesn't move without the will of God, isn't it? If the leaf doesn't move without the will of God, don't you think that He has already made arrangements for some things in this world? For you also? So why are you feeling inadequate? There is no need to feel inadequate. Remember, like the monk, God has already made some arrangements for you. So then what makes you think that that you need to have an earning, you need to have a big ego that yes, I am working for this company, I am so and so, I am the chairman of this company or managing that. What is this big deal? It is by the will of God that you have become somebody in life. Acknowledge that. And don't say I did. This is the truth man doesn't realize. And the answer is to make him humble. This is a process called renunciation. Renunciation is a process that makes you humbler by the day. It tells you God has made arrangements for you. In spirituality, we learn this the hard way, by the way. You don't learn it very easily. Now you look at me, and you will say, oh, you are a heavyweight champion, When I decided that I am going to have only one meal a day, everybody was against me. They said, how can you do that? I told them, I said, in spirituality, we understand that we have to eat only so much. Our emphasis should never be on what we eat. So what I eat once in a day, I don't have to bother what I am going to have at the end of the day. It is not important for me. And if that once in a day can suffice for me, in this world people will say you need to have multiple meals. Every 4 hours you need to have a small meal. I agree with all of that. Okay, for the material worldly person it is perfect. For a spiritual person, everything is imperfect, by the way. To make a living is imperfect. For the material world, to make a living, yes, of course you need to work. It's perfect. To beg for charity, you need to beg for food, is perfect in this world. In material world, you don't beg from anybody. Isn't that what you have been told? Don't beg from anybody. Okay? In material world, you have so many relatives, so many friends, so many people around you. In spiritual world, nobody is yours and you are belonging to nobody. You are detached from everybody. So, everything in the material world, you have to wear good clothes. In spiritual, you wear what you have. I mean, whatever you can, simple. Even if it is stone, it does not matter. You have to show off in the material world. You need to have a house, you need to have cars and this and that. And you need to do. Here, you don't have anybody to show anything. You just have to be as poor as possible. There you say, I earn a living. I do everything for myself. I became great because I did these studies and I become this and that and so many things. Don't you say that in the material world? The whole world talks like this. In the spiritual world we say, God made me like this. It's a very strange world out there, The materialistic world is completely reversed in the spiritual. Whatever you think in the material is not the same in spiritual at all. Here you are dependent on your own living. That means you have to earn a living, you have to make money, you are supposed to do so many things. There is nothing like that. So I hope you understood there is a difference between these two worlds. And in spiritual, nobody is forcing you to do anything, by the way. Nobody in this world. I will never force a person to get up in the morning. I will never tell them, that this is what you have to do. In the material world, you have to put an alarm. You have to get up in the morning. You have to go to work. If you don't go to work, boss is going to give you a firing. If you are not going to do your work, everybody is going to blame you. All that thing is happening. In the spiritual world, you can get up at 12 o'clock in the night also, does not matter. You don't have fixed timings for anything. But in spiritual, we try to become disciplined. So getting up in the Brahma Muhurtam. Brahma Muhurtam is anywhere between 3:30 to 5:30. 3:30 a.m. in the morning to 5:30 a.m. in the morning is called Brahma Muhurtam. Brahma Muhurtam is a time when, I have explained in the earlier satsangs, Brahma Muhurtam is a time when everything is in perfect harmony. So knowledge percolates. You can do your meditation. Everything is in a perfect place. The world is just rising. The sun is rising somewhere. You know that entire thing. The morning rays are very beautiful. Everything is working in perfect harmony. And that is the time called Brahma Muhurtam, when you can get up and you will feel nice about it. So in spiritual, we get up in Brahma Muhurtam. Nobody forces us. We just get up. Nothing is done by force. We live a life of simplicity. Absolutely simple. There are no shows anywhere. Nothing like that. It does not matter if some person comes and derides you, says anything to us. We just take it as a compliment, by the way. We don't say anything to that person. It's all right. Unnecessarily, he is spoiling his, mouth, isn't it? Somebody who speaks ill, his mouth is dirty. Why should we join in that? Right? You are pure yourself. Why would a pure water join a dirty water? So you don't talk. You keep silent. So you see what he does? They would criticize and insult him, saying the man is just hypocrite and a cheat. He makes business of religion simply because he has lost all his wealth and his family threw him out. When I left this material world and got into spiritual, every person in my world came and asked me, as well as every relative of mine, why doesn't this man work? He can make some money, he can do this, he can do that. It is a very difficult thing for the family members also to express to the world that this person is in spiritual. You know how difficult it is? It's extremely tough. Because the world derides him or derides her, whoever. They do not look at it as something like an achievement. For them, it's a demotion. It's come down in life. If you don't make money, you have come down in life. If you are living like a beggar, it is not good. So this is what happens to these people also. So some would ridicule him by saying, just see this greatly powerful sage. He is as steadfast as the Himalaya mountain. By practice of silence, he strives for his goal with great determination, just like a duck. Other person would pass foul air upon him, and sometimes others would bind this twice born Brahmana in chain and keep him captive like a pet animal. So now you can see the atrocities that are done to him. The Brahmana understood that all his sufferings from other living beings, from the higher forces of nature, and from his own body was unavoidable, being allotted to him by providence. Jesus Christ went to the desert and he was told by his father that he has to go through the ordeal. Why? Providence has said so. He has to go through it. He could have easily become a carpenter and stayed over there. No, you cannot do that. In spiritual world, we have to go through literally like gold, To get it purified, you have to go through fire. And have you ever seen a diamond? You see, a diamond shines very beautifully. But where was it found? It was found in some heap like a small stone. It was cut, polished. It has been rubbed over the hardest surface. If you have seen how diamond polishing happens, maybe you can see a video on YouTube how diamond cutting and polishing happens. The shine will come only after it has gone through complete grinding, complete polishing, then. So spiritually perfect people have to go through this process of becoming perfect. It is not an easy thing. It is not like, oh, I got a special pass for this. No. You don't have special passes for becoming spiritual, okay? Oh, no, I am the relation of Mr. Jesus Christ. Oh, I should be there in front. Even Mary, or Judas' brother, by the way, he had a brother also by that name. Nobody had a privilege over there, okay? Nobody gets the privilege. You cannot go with some special recommendation. Oh, this person is allowed first. In spiritual world, there is no special recommendation anywhere. Okay? You have to go through the process. And the process is important. So, you have to go through the suffering. People ask me, why does a man have to suffer? Why he cannot be just, No. Suffering is a must for you to understand what it means. How to live in this world. You should know everything and yet be humble. The words which define a spiritual person are loving, kind, compassionate, humble. All these words are there. Do you think an arrogant person who has got such a big fat ego, do you think he is any of these? A person will say, see, I am a very kind person, I am very nice and genuine and a very kind person. I like to help people. You like to help people? That is a mistaken belief. So when people come here, they say, Guruji, I am going to work in the kitchen, I am going to work over here or I am going to work over there. I would like to help around. So I tell them, oh, is that so? You are going to come over here to help me? No, I don't need your help. I am going to tell you what you are supposed to do. You have to do seva. Seva means service. And service doesn't mean help. Now I will tell you the difference between service and help. Okay? In the material world, when you are working for a company, are you doing help to the company? No, you are not helping a company. You are working as a salesperson or a marketing person or in whichever department that you are. You think you are helping the company? No. You are not helping the company. You are actually doing service. So, in an ashram or in a place where you have your guru, please don't say I have come to help over here. You have come to do service. And service is the word that is called seva. Okay? So, in this world, now we come to the big picture. When you are in spiritual, don't say in this world, I am helping poor people, I am doing this, I am doing that. Don't ever say those words. You are here to serve. S-E-R-V-E. And you are expected to do service to mankind. This is God's world. God is the CEO, chairman of this big company. Don't say I have come here to help him. You are nobody to help God, okay? We are here to do our service. And this is the truth. People don't understand. They think that they are doing great help. So any person who says, the material worldly people think they are helping someone. It is your ego which tells you that you help someone. No, you are here in this world to do service to God and to His entire creation. So we are here just to serve the purpose. So I hope you understand the difference between help and service. I know it's a very subtle difference. We don't understand in normal life that what it means to help and what it means to serve. Alright? So, the Brahmana understood that all his sufferings from living beings, from the higher forces of nature and from his own body were unavoidable. Can you shut up? Were unavoidable, being allotted to him by providence. This is allotted to us. Whatever that we are doing in this world, this is allotted to us. Spirituality teaches us how to go towards our true calling, which is what is called Swadharma. And when you reach your Swadharma, it's your duty to serve. Not to think you are some great person doing some great favors in this world. Nobody does favors. You are doing service. And service to mankind is the highest, is the epitome of why you are here. Okay? Even while being insulted by these low class men who were trying to effect his downfall, he remained steady in his spiritual duties. So did you see? Duties. Fixing his resolution in the mode of goodness, he began to chant the following song. So this Brahmana, what does he do? Even after getting all the insults from everybody in this world, he remained steady in his spiritual knowledge. You have to remain steady. Just because somebody comes and says something to you, don't get affected by it. You are not supposed to feel, oh, I am so bad, I am the worst creature on earth. People like to do this. There are two kinds of egos in this world. One is called the bloated ego, which you can see with every person outside. The bloated ego is, I am this, I am that, I am the president, I am the prime minister, I am managing director, I am the employee, I am this. Oh, people keep on saying this. I own this house, I am like this. That is called bloated ego, that big fat ego. What is bigger than a bloated ego? Deflated ego. A deflated person is a person who will say, I am suffering. I am always being treated badly. The whole world is pushing me. If they are telling me I am worthless, I am not good, everybody comes and tells me I am not worthy enough. Do you think that this is an ego or not an ego? It is the biggest ego because it starts with the word I. I am always suffering. Oh, you are the great sufferer. This ego, which is called the punctured ego, is the biggest ego of all. You see, when you have a bloated ego, you can be brought down to earth very fast. But when you have a punctured ego, can you be brought down to earth? No. It is the most difficult thing on earth. The bloated ego thinks no end of itself. It will always keep on saying, they are always treating me badly. I am always, at the receiving end. People think, this is what happens. The bloated ego doesn't realize that it is an ego. It says, I am the greatest. But, one small puncture and the ego comes down. I say, oh, I have now come down. The other side, I am the sufferer, I am the worst creature, I am mad, people treat me badly, they hurt me, they beat me up. Have you heard about this? There are these, beatings and this and that. Yes, everybody has heard about it. But they never consider it as an ego. But it is the ego. It tells you, you are the greatest sufferer in the world. Greater than any Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ has not been beaten so badly, Oh my God. So this person treats themselves as the worst character on earth. That is an ego. How do you bring down that ego? You see, both these things can be put back in place with the term called love. Give love to this person. Give love to that bloated ego fellow also. When their ego gets punctured, no, just give them love. Don't say that, oh, you thought of yourself, nobody, what do you think of yourself now? You are nobody now. No, don't say that. Treat them with love, that's it. Make them rise in their own eyes. So, even being insulted by these low-class men who were trying to effect his downfall, he remained steady in his spiritual duties. Fixing his resolution in the mode of goodness, he began to chant the following song. I'm going to stop here because it's important that you understand the meaning of these words. The song is different, so I will continue that tomorrow. But just giving you an idea of what it means to be in this world till just now, whatever we have learned. So we are going to stop at verse 41. Alright, so we have to understand what is happening to this Avanti Brahmana. The Avanti Brahmana is wearing torn clothes. He is going around all over the world as a very simple human being. He goes and asks for food. He's got one stick and he's got a begging bowl. So when he goes with the begging bowl, people mistreat him, they ill-treat him. They spit on him, they call him names, they treat him very badly. Spiritual person is supposed to have renunciation. You have to renounce everything. When you renounce, you do not tell the world that you are spiritual. You do not let the world know anything about it. You are an incognito person. You don't have to tell them how highly educated you are. And you have to learn simplicity and humility in this world. So it is important that you go through this process. This process is extremely important. So learning to beg. When you beg, you are becoming a humble person. Nothing in this world should deter you. There should be no ego whatsoever. So to destroy the ego, normally the person who comes in spiritual doesn't do any work anywhere. That means for a living. Work in the sense he is supposed to keep on doing the work in this world, okay? But not for the purpose of earning some money, fame, fortune, nothing. And nothing is his. That means no house, property, children, this, that, nothing is. It makes you understand that when you have nothing in this world, how does the world look at you? Then this person realizes that he is at the mercy of the Lord. Actually, everybody is on the mercy of the Lord, but nobody realizes this. So the Brahmana understands this and he goes around doing his duties in this world of begging and living in very simple places. Tomorrow we will start the poetry which he says, which he is singing, and then we will understand what he is talking. So we shall end over here. Okay. Have a great day or a good evening. Take care. Bye.